When your world stops spinning and you got no place to turn, yeah. And when you grasp for a glimpse and the things that you never learned, yeah. Then you take a little while to remind you of the one you were, and everything will be recalled, yeah, yeah. Dream a little harder, love a little louder, and everything will be recalled, yeah, yeah. Take me back to the time of '85, yeah. Take me back to the time when you were mine, yeah. Dream a little harder, love a little louder. Take me back to the time of '85. When you dream about places where there's no sense of time or space, yeah. You don't need to pull yourself together and make pretend, yeah. Then you take a little while to remind you of the one you were, and everything will be recalled, yeah, yeah. Dream a little harder, love a little louder, and everything will be recalled. Take me back
good evening, good afternoon, good day, depending on where you are in the world. A happy Monday. Hope you're all doing well. Folks, been flying with Murph over in Scotland today in this very same airplane. And as per tradition, I forgot my lights. That's a little better. Hope you're all doing well this fine evening. Had quite a bit of fun flying with Murph just before. Speaking of Murph, there he is. Hello, how are you all? Welcome to the channel. Hope you're all having a fantastic Monday. Scotland is absolutely beautiful, and Murph had an awesome flight. And I thought, you know, let's try this thing out on VATSIM, see what happens. Hope you're all doing very well. Hey, Dangerous Brian, how you doing? Captain Mahoney's here. EL737, Mr. Hoppy, Kingsman, Big Papa Polly, good to have you all aboard. So, as the title says, VATSIM isn't just for Gicknas. You can take the small stuff here. Holy chat. Pete in the skies, hello. Friend 2all says, what could go wrong? Indeed. Bot Up is here. Catback9, Scorpio, good to have you all on board. So we are again in this lovely new airplane from Iris Simulations. We have the updated version that they updated during Murph's stream. We're running version 2.1. Gibbo's here. Good to see you, my dude. Mal3569, hello. Hope you're all doing fantastic. So we are, in fact, in the Grob G115E Tudor T1. That's a mouthful. Now we're going to do a Jepson. How you doing, my friend? We're going to be taking a relatively short flight, but we're going to be doing a VOR to VOR on VATSIM because why not? They've been doing very good updates with this plane, and I'm color me really impressed. Ozymandias, good to see you. Hello! Two-Tone Murphy, not wasting any time whatsoever. Gifting out 10 Tier 1 subs to the community, going out to Flyboy4222, Fly Plus More, R. Singleton, Care85, Julian KS89, WillDog26, Sparker in VR, Copperhat3634, Fuzzy Lumpkins, I still love that one, and Lollylol 1975. Many thanks, my dude. Short flight, that's when somebody's flying in my back seat. That's very kind of you, Murph. Many thanks, my dude. So yeah, we're gonna try a little bit of VATSIM tonight, because I think there's a very common misconception that I am too, Acord. I think there's a big misconception with a lot of people, especially new people into flight sim, that you hear VATSIM and it's all you think. You know, I think a lot of people think, oh, it's just for the airliners, and it really isn't. Virtual ATC is for everybody. So we're taking a German plane in British registration for a flight in America. Catbat9 continuing the legendage, gifting out 5 Tier 1 subs, going out to Fortner Dunn, Crimson Bear, Count Duckula, Skydive Man, and Tony Cliff Tony. Many thanks, Catbat9, you legend. So we're gonna go ahead. We're not gonna go in depth as Murph did because, well, Murph did what Murph did. We're going to get this thing rolling, get started. I just need to get my battery switch is engaged. Tot Squirtle 22 with the follow. Many thanks, dude. So beacon that switch doesn't still doesn't work, so strobe light's red. Check on that. Yep, she's working. Awesome. Fuel pumps on. Mags to both. And clear prop. Fuel shut off. Mixture. No. That's interesting. Server, same as always, Mahoney. Remember, there is a command for what server we're on. Why? Now, this started before. We'll... Fine. Alright, so I think we got another... Alright, hey, someone just drove right into me. And of course we've got a Tomcat with us. We have all sorts of fun stuff about to happen. So, we are on connected to VATSIM. I don't know if I have that on. I don't, but that's okay. So VPilot. So we're going to tune our main radio to, that's nav radio, that's not going to help. 122.8, which is standard Unicom. We're going to squawk VFR, which is 1200 here in the US. Put that in the right mood. Set our altimeter. We have our, well, we need a file or flight plan. File flight plan. Flight plan file. Awesome. And it didn't do that in VPUZ, so .com both. We're gonna set COM to Kansas City Center. I'll be shocked if we even hear it. 725. And we're gonna double check volume settings in this. Push talk. Good. Cancel. No, it's not picking that up. So settings. Push to talk. That's not what I pressed at all. There we go. Apply. Okay, audio. Good, good, good. Awesome. Good. Awesome. Hey, Twisted Rotor, how you doing? I see you right there. So we need to tune to the local AWOS, or Automated Weather Observation System, which is 119.975. 119.975. Interesting. That's weird, Captain Mahoney.
Sky condition clear. Temperature 29er C dew point 10 C altimeter
2996.
2996. Hotel Alpha India automated weather observation 2200 Zulu. Wind calm.
Wind is calm, so we can pick whatever runway we want. And now that we're sitting here on the ramp, we can start our calls to the Unicom. And through traffic, Grab 6947 Echo, taxiing to runway 27 for departure to the northwest at Three Rivers. Yeah, no, the JPL mod is a wonderful add-on. Hey, Muse fan, no worries, but dude, always glad to have you along, even for a little bit. You have a good rest. So we're gonna turn this way to runway 27. There's a GPU truck parked in my way. So kind of taxi around him. Get back on track. I don't even know if that transmitted. No, it didn't transmit because I did my yoke. And 3 Rivers traffic's Grab 6947 Echo taxi on runway 27 for departure to the northwest at 3 Rivers. So I've really actually been really enjoying this. It's an aircraft I didn't really know that much about. Oh, Chicago Center's now online. Ooh. Alright, so before we get too far, we're going to monitor Chicago Center. They just came online, 120 at 350. We'll put them on radio 2. Spinny, 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 spinny. 350, 350. Oist K, welcome to, this is the Grab G115E from Ira Simulations, just released on this past Saturday. And we're taking out for a bit of a spin on VATSIM. We're gonna make sure all necessary lights are on, nav lights. Someone's keying up the mic and not talking. Oh, for sure, yeah, they just released it Saturday, Oisk. And 3 Rivers traffic, Grab November 6947 Echo, departing runway 27 for northwest departure at 3 Rivers.
Chicago Center, Austrian 65 Heavy with you, passing flight level 320, descending
Hey, Gicknas, how you
on
doing?
direct to wind, waypoint, and then on to runway 28 center, Chicago.
Austrian 65, Chicago Center, ident.
Taxi into position. We're gonna probably turn VATSIM down just a little bit because they're kind of loud.
Chicago Center, good evening.
All right.
Aircraft line, Chicago Center, unreadable. Austrian 65, radar contact 26 miles southwest of Muskegon, VOR descend through flight level 308. Descend across a windy at 11,000.
There's 3 signs.
Plan to cross windy at 11,000, Austrian 65.
All right. Ooh.
Chicago Center, good evening. American 1367 for level 340.
We're up.
American 1367, Chicago Center, squawk 1314.
1314, American 1367.
Waiting for plus 300 feet to bring the flaps up. Now you'll notice the first mistake I made. I'm not tuned to a VOR yet. 116.6.
Chicago Center, Southwest 7038, descending 24,000 for 6,000.
Southwest 1738, Chicago Center, ident. American 1367, radar contact 28 miles north of the Dubuque VOR, flight level 340.
Copy, American 1367.
Austrian 65, you expect the ILS 28 center approach.
Expecting ILS 28 center approach, Austrian 65.
Southwest 1738, ident.
Alright, so we should be on a heading in 295. I don't think the VOR gauge is working this properly. That's interesting. So that's not working. That isn't working. Interesting. Yeah, I don't think the nav radios work. That's awkward.
Chicago Center, Southwest 1738, sending through 20,000 right now, 46,000.
So we need to get to 3,500. You're more than welcome to fly along.
Southwest 1738, radar contact 3-4 miles northeast of the Knox, VOR descend through flight level 202. You can continue your descent across Haley at 6,000. Your midway altimeter is 29903.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that hey, there's a helo. I'm not so sure that the nav, the VOR nav gauges are even working properly. I mean, this has caught the VOR, but it's not letting me adjust the dial at all. Heading bug doesn't move. Well, Grundles. That's awkward. But it's a beautiful plane regardless. That's what I was doing, Mr. Hoppy. I suppose I'll try clicking.
Austrian 65, O'Hare information, Delta's current advisory have it.
That worked. Why does the scroll wheel not work? The scroll wheel should work.
O'Hare information.
Oh, now it
Delta
works?
current,
What in the
and we have on
world?
board Austrian 65.
Okay, now I need to adjust. What in the world? That was strange. Interesting.
American 1367, you leave Meyer space to the west. Minneapolis Center is offline. Your radar services are terminated. Frequency change to advisories approved.
Got to American 1367.
Southwest 1738, you can expect runway 22 left.
This guy sounds about as friendly as a porcupine. Okay, so the next VOR that we're going to need is the Pullman VOR, I think, or no, the Oskin. Oskin? No, Pullman. I was right the first time. 112.10.
Southwest 1738, Chicago Center.
As we get buzzed by an F-14, because of course you will. And we need to go another 1,000 feet. Want to be at about 3,500. Need some lightage. And we are running live time and weather.
Southwest 1738, Chicago Center.
I can tell why this guy's kind of sounds grumpy because, well, he's having a heck of a day.
Austrian 65, turn left, heading 200 vectors for the approach.
Left heading 200, vectors for the approach, Austrian 65.
But it's a fun little airplane. I don't know if it's me, but it almost sounds like a 172 now. Could just be me.
Southwest 1738, Chicago Center.
But I just wanted kind of to do a short stream flight.
Austrian 65, descend to maintain 4,000.
Demonstrate that, you know, VATSIM isn't just for the airliners. It isn't. There are a lot of them out there, and that's true. But you know, you can fly small GA planes on VATSIM, and it's a-okay. In fact, I've heard controllers really like it because it's something different, because there are so many tube liners that get on network and they don't deal with a lot of GA.
Chicago Center, Southwest 1738, descending 10,000, 14,000.
Southwest 1738, Chicago Center, how do you copy?
Chicago Center, Austrian 65, and speed restrictions.
9,000. Southwest 1738, copy. We do not have voice.
Austrian 65, Chicago, say again.
Any speed restrictions?
Austrian 65, when able, reduce to 210 knots.
Whenever we reduce to 210 knots, Austrian 65.
Southwest 1738, you expect 22 left, descend to maintain 6,000.
The Southwest airline guys kind of sounds like he's trying to fly for Ryanair. Kind of sounds like he's about to get booted off the network. He's not listening very well.
So the 1738, we do have Alpha for the main team. 6,000. Run at 22 left.
So we're still trying to get to 3,500. We got bought up in a C-22J. I still don't know what that is. Mr. Hoppy in the DA-40. We got Twisted Rotor in the helicopter. Run 1 to Baron. Seal Titanium in a 172.
Could direct you to
Benvenot in a 208.
cross fields at 3,000.
Or
Clear on Average.
Benevalt.
1738.
I keep messing up your name, and I'm sorry.
Chicago Center, FedEx 6580, Southwest cargo ramp at O'Hare. Ready to
I know what that
start
was.
if you're, started for that.
FedEx 6580, Chicago Center, approved as requested, dispatch ready for taxi.
Confrontive, Azolas,
Copy, I'll contact when ready for taxi. FedEx 6580.
How do VORs work and sort of struggling with it? So it's basically, I'm going to give you the idiot's answer because I don't have the most detailed of knowledge. It's basically a radio signal that goes out in 360-degree intervals. And when you tune to the frequency and then adjust your CDI, it'll align with a particular radial and guide you either to it or from it. So like this one, I'm tuned and we're going towards it, but the course is off to our right, so we're to the left of the course a bit. But it's basically your basic radio navigation. So basically, you tune to radio frequency. See guys on the G1009. With the G1000, you might actually be able to. It might do it automatically. I'm not very familiar with the G1000 system, but if you put in your nav, like your nav 1 or nav 2, and then select the CDI to be on nav 1 or nav 2, it'll work the same way.
Austrian 65, turn right heading 250, join the runway 28 center localizer.
Right heading 250, join the 28 center localizer, Austrian 65.
I always get asked about the G1000. I don't know much about the G1000, but I think as long as you tune nav 1 or nav 2 to a frequency, and then select the CDI to go to nav 1 or nav 2, it should work just fine. And then it'll give you one of the green arrows. I really need to spend some time with it, learning it, because I'm current frequency is 116.60. So make that the active nav 1 frequency. Then go to the PFD and select the CDI to nav 1. Now, if it doesn't automatically point in the right direction, it's either going to be you're going to look for a knob that has CRS for course, and you adjust that until the line, so like in this case, this green line and the arrow is pointing up, and this line is just straight, and that's going to be the heading that you want to take to get to the VOR.
So maintain 3000 Southwest 7038. We can do the RNAV run if you do one.
And the closer to the VOR that you get,
we can go direct to sales, but we can't do the RNAV. We can do vector.
Closer to the VOR you are. Hey, Flights, how you doing? How you doing, Joel? Flights. I'm just gonna call you Flights. Hey, what's up, Flights? How you doing, Joel?
FedEx 6580, Southwest Cargo, ready to taxi.
Southwest 6580, do you have information Delta?
Didn't know they were up and running. Let me go ahead and review it and I'll recontact you and confirm.
Southwest, or correction, FedEx 6580, that's not a problem, just let me know when you do have it.
It is Flights
runway
Joel,
1,
but I went
correction
with Flights,
28 right.
It's just like, wait, what?
Ask Echo Echo, taxi via Bravo Bravo, Papa, Echo Echo, cross runway 128.
No, it's not finding the frequency. We were in what's called the zone of confusion, but now we have it. It's picking it up back again. So we need to head to our next frequency, which is 112.10.
Bravo Bravo, cross runway.
And then we adjust this.
Then I got Papa, and then Echo Echo, golf golf.
So we need to head north. Glad you're enjoying it, Kyle. We're now heading north to the next.
Austrian 65, cleared ILS runway 28 center approach.
VOR.
Cleared approach, ILS 28 center, Austrian 65.
The real trick is there's no autopilot here, so. 112.10, yeah. It is.
738, we're headed direct to sales right now.
If it wasn't for the Flying Fabio, I'd still be lost with it. But he managed to get it, explain it, and demonstrate it in such a way that I had actually stuck in my head. So I have the DME set to the correct frequency, but I can't select DME. It's forcing me to use ADF. So,
Clear out running 22 left on 738.
so there's a DME set to the correct. He is, Joel. I have the DME set to the correct frequency, but I can't select DME.
Austrian 65, wind 2306, runway 28 center, clear to land.
The ADF should be separate from the VORs. Nav 1.
5.
See, this is where it's being a challenge with me not being familiar with the G1000 system. Why are my thoughts down? Oh, I'm trying to think. Because as long as your radio can pick up the frequency, it should automatically get that information and not, be forcing you to do anything as far as, oh, you've got to be on an ADF. Because the ADF only picks up a 3-digit frequency, whereas the nav radios will be a 3-digit point 2-digit or 3-digit. Like I said, I think some of this is me not being overly familiar. Now, are you using the old school G1000, or I hate saying that, or the NXI? Because I'll go back and I'll look into it, and maybe on Wednesday night, right after Murph, I'll do another one. Yeah, old school. I know. The G1000 isn't old school at all. What's your thoughts on the grub? Anyway, Cole. No, I like it. I need to check on the nose wheel animation because that was probably my biggest gripe. Let's see if we. Well, they changed that to red. Well, that's kind of nice.
We can it back there, that's all we need.
It seems like a lot of the other issues that I had have been cleaned up. So, I like it. It's a nice, stable aircraft. It's fully aerobatic. I did some maneuvers on Wednesday. I don't know what day of the week it is anymore. Saturday. So I did loops, half Cubans, Immelmans. So far, that's probably the hardest part is the trim. It rolls one way or the other. I can't get any of the rudder trim to stick. It just does not respond. I don't know if but that's just not to say that I'm not doing it wrong. I'm probably doing it wrong. But the trimming is probably its weakest point so far, but that, like I said, that could just boil down to me not knowing how to do it right.
FedEx 6580 after departure, flying runway heading runway 28 right at Delta, correction, Echo, Echo, clear for takeoff.
That volume needs to come down because that is absolutely
clear
ridiculous.
takeoff, runway 28 right, fly runway heading, FedEx 6580.
Austrian 65, welcome to O'Hare, make a right on Papa.
Reserved to using the keyboard commands for roll trim when there's nothing. Okay, so that's fair. ATC is from VATSIM, Joel. We're listening to Chicago Center. Any aircraft with no autopilot needs a good, precise trimming system.
We'll go down to
So if you're figuring out when you need to press the soft key below CDI to toggle off the GPS VOR, VR2, VR1 will use, yeah. Thanks, Artificial Fox. You said that way better than I could. Yeah, I mean, it's real people. Yes, Maximus. So VATSIM is the air traffic control network. I'm also live on the East US server and on the Tuto Murphy Joint FS. But if, you know, I
Austrian
could
65,
call
left
up
on Echo,
Chicago Center
Echo.
and request
Right on
flight
Victor
following if I really
to
wanted
the
to.
ramp.
But
Remain this frequency cross,
flying
runway
via
28 right at
Bartlett,
Echo,
I don't
Echo.
have to talk to anybody if I don't want to. But when I get to an airport, I have to start making radio cards saying, you know, who I am, where I am, what I want to do.
Airport of sight on 173.
Yeah, I don't touch AI ATC because it's rubbish.
Left clear to land on 173.
Austrian 65, you can proceed eastbound on Papa, a left on Echo, Echo, cross runway 28 right at Echo, Echo.
Yeah, if that airport has a well, on
FedEx
VATSIM, if it
6580,
has a
radar
tower
contact, climb and maintain
and center
level
is online, I
380,
have to
clear direct
contact
Tito.
them. But we're going to airports that don't have a tower, so I just have
Direct
to
to
make
Tito,
uniform
climb
calls.
maintain 380, FedEx 6580.
So we're passing the VOR now because I've gone weird. Yeah, I could refer to them as uncontrolled because they're non-towered. They don't have a tower, so therefore they're uncontrolled.
FedEx
You have a good
6580,
one, Muse
resume
fan?
normal speed.
Oh, Maximus, I know a little about a lot. Most of what I've learned have come from
Resume normal speed,
folks
FedEx
like
6580.
Flying Fabio. He's brilliant. Okay, so we need to go. We don't have another VOR, so we're gonna keep tuned to this one. But we need to make it so that we're going from. So we're gonna scroll down. This is awful. To 353. What are you doing? That's awful. They need to reevaluate that, because controlling that is just terrible. Well, I'll show you once we get there. But basically, as soon as you're within, say, 10 miles, you want to start your initial calls, and I'd say Grob, November 6947 Echo is approximately 10 miles to the south, inbound for landing, runway, whatever we choose. Looks like winds are out of the west, so we'll say runway 27 if that's available. At this is what, Park Township. So we're going to be landing at Park Township. So once we start getting in the pattern, we start saying, Grob, November 6947 Echo, left downwind, runway 27 at Park Township, full stop landing, something to that effect. There's a lot of good templates out there, especially on VATSIM's website. Don't be afraid. The biggest thing I can say is don't be afraid to mess up. I mess up all the time.
1255 with you at what to
Yes. So basically a Unicom is also officially referred to as a common traffic advisory frequency. It's basically where all the pilots are talking to each other air to air, not for casual conversation, but to say, I am here, look out for me. Don't fly into me. So that way, there's no mid-airs. You can even, some non-towered airports or uncontrolled airports will have somebody working at a desk, an FBO, listening to the frequency.
FedEx 1255 radar contact.
Sometimes pilots will
5 miles south.
try to contact that FBO and say, hey, what are the winds? Not exactly like that, but, essentially asking what winds are, and that sort of thing. Otherwise, some of the bigger non-controlled airports will have what's called an AWOS, the Automatic Weather Observation System, or ASOS, which basically means the same thing. And it will give you it'll be like ATIS, getting the ATIS at a bigger towered airport. Yeah, exactly like the program. Exactly. However, not required in the real world. Some pilots don't say anything.
Aircraft calling Chicago Center 5x5.
Yeah. It's a bad idea to go without a radio these days. I mean, if you're out in the backcountry, that's one thing, but let's just say the FAA will be not very happy if you don't use radio. There's no excuse in the modern day. There's really no excuse not to have some sort of radio in your airplane, whether it's a handheld or built-in. See, Mahoney, when you change in dev mode, it doesn't update properly, which can also cause major problems. Which is why I still firmly believe that dev mode should be locked when multiplayer is enabled. It should be unable to use dev mode. I've had a lot of CTDs because people use dev mode to switch airplanes during a flight. Because models don't update right, and this and that, and that's caused me a multitude of headaches. I know it's inconvenient, but yeah, like what exactly like the program's saying. It's basically there's really no excuse to not, talk on the radio. So it may not necessarily be required. It's very good practice, because the last thing anybody wants is some random airplane. Even ultralights carry a handheld radio these days. So, Park Township traffic, Grub, November 6947 Echo inbound to land runway 27 at Park Township. Okay, so there's no runway 27 at Park Township that I'm just finding out. So we want runway 23. Yeah, clear of runway, that sort of thing. Anything that would make it easier for folks to spot you and not run into you is strongly advisable. And honestly, it's a good, safe practice to do it. I want to say it's required just because, the FAA is the FAA, but I haven't looked at FARs in almost 20 years. And Park Township traffic, Rob, November 6947 Echo, entering left downwind for runway 23 at Park Township. So we want to be on a runway heading of 050. We're going to head one notch of flaps. And this is where Murph, on my birthday, was trying to fly with the Thunderflies and ended up crashing into a village, or a neighborhood. And Grub, November 6947 Echo, turning left base for runway 23 full stop landing at Park Township. So 050... Yeah, right about there.
All aircraft on frequency Chicago Center is closed and the aircraft remaining this frequency, monitor Unicom 122.8.
And Chicago Center's done for the night. That didn't last long.
Copy that. Have a great night, sir.
And Park Township traffic, Grub 6947 Echo, turning left base, or left final for runway 23 at Park Township. Full stop landing. Basically, as long as you get the gist of what you want to do, who you are, and the gist of who you are, where you are, and what you want to do, that's what's really needed. And for the displaced threshold, have a bit of a crosswind, which is fine. Yeah, I couldn't spit the FARs out. It's been years. Ooh. Yeah, Park Town, Park. The heck was I saying? What is it? Park Township. Park Township traffic, Grub 6947 Echo, clear of all active runways at Park Township. Alright, so we're going to open that up for a bit. Here's a guy that doesn't know how to park. Speaking of virus simulations, there's the Jabberoo. Okay, we're gonna roll down. There's Mr. Hoppy. Alright, so we're gonna stop here a minute. And the brakes are really sensitive on this thing. Alright, we're gonna stop here for just a second, put the parking brake on, and we're gonna set up for the next flight. Alright, so we need to go to VPilot, flight plan. We need to go MKG, HIC, MOP, and Kilo Mike Oscar Papa. Let's see, 12, 26, 35. 35, really? We'll call it 35. 3:30. Zulu time is, call it 23:45. Zulu and file flight plan. Not to code an FAA, but CAA and Class G airspace doesn't legally require radio airspace. Require radio all over airspace does. However, I've never met a pilot in the UK who wouldn't have a. Yeah, I think that's fairly similar to the way it is here. When you're on the Unicom in Class G, it's not a. I don't think it's a requirement, but it's a really good idea. CDD. Oh dear. Yeah, at least you got that on the ground. That's the best time to have those things. Okay, we're gonna end that flight in Atlanta. Okay, so we need to go to the next VOR. Also, how you doing, Stuart? You're up late. We need to show information for there. It's 115.2. Well, I mean, you talk once you get into especially let's just use Michigan as an instance. Once you get into northern Michigan, there's a lot of Class G. Most airspace up there is Class G or Class E. It's dead. You're talking bush country. There's nothing up there. There's hunters, fishermen, wilderness stuff. There's not a lot of people up there, let alone airports. So it's not nearly as congested like southern Michigan is. Okay, so that's 115.2. We've got that. Tune in. White Cloud. Show information. 117.6. 17.6. Okay, that's set and ready to go. We need to go 14.014. Oh, this is so painful. Zero, 1, 4. Should be right about there. Okay, there's there. We'll select nav 2 is 117.6, just so we have an idea of when we intercept that. And that's going to be at a heading of 3-1. Zero 3 1. Boy. So nav 2 set and ready to go. Just Class D, no Class D. Ooh, that's gonna be fun. Class D. Awesome, ailerons. Yeah, you've had a string of bad luck with the weather canceling your flights. That good, but it's good to see you getting lessons again. All right, now we're gonna start taxiing out. So now it's our intentions. And grab 6947 Echo back taxiing runway 23 for departure at Park Township. There is a parking brake. So we're going to use all of the runways so that we can avoid trees. Well, Kansas City Center's still on. So we'll see if we can't listen to them. I can't get over the view because it makes me feel like I'm aimed off to the side. It's weird. Also, the brakes are really touchy. It wasn't just the weather. This goes, that's lame as all get out. Jeez. Set, we're ready to go. 1 notch of flaps down. Check our trim up just a little bit. Alright. Ooh, Toronto Center's online. We can listen to them. I always find it good practice to listen to whatever center you can listen to, just in case. Here on 125. 775. Excuse me. All right. That ain't right, Stuart. That ain't right. All right. At Park Township traffic, Grob at 6947 Echo, taking off runway 23 for departure to the north at Park Township. Nice, dude. Up. Wait. Make sure we're on the right altimeter setting. Flaps coming up. Trim up to compensate. So we've already picked up the next VOR. We'll turn out over the lake a little bit because it's pretty. And it's sunset. And what's better than a beach at sunset? Line the airfield and Park Township traffic. Grab 6947 Echo, departing the airspace to the north. It's a lovely little airplane. I have no complaints. The visibility is spectacular. The brakes are a little touchy. It has steam gauges, so that's already a win in my book. Can't wait to see what kind of repaints come out for this. See, I always kind of thought it kind of looked, kind of reminded me of the American, the Grumman Tiger. Little plain, kind of roundabout. Yes. And there's 3,000 feet. That's enough. There's Big Papa Polly. Let's see, we're on 115.2. Little map. Yep, 014 degrees is the heading we should be on. Yep. Sweet. So we've just gone over, so we're going to reduce throttle. Down to 20. As far as I can tell, it has no autopilot. I mean, I'm both ways about autopilots. I'm pretty sure, because there's a civilian version of this, in the real world anyway, where the pilot seat is on the left hand and it has a yoke instead of a stick. I don't know. I'm kind of both ways about autopilots. Yeah. There's Big Papa Paulie. See Mr. Hoppy, USA PR1, Maximus there, bought it, Jay Whittaker, Mahoney, our friend in the Hilo, which I think is Twisted Rotor. Yeah. Tell you what though, it was nice to have for, trolling through Germany and whatnot. Put a link in the Discord to an FAA document on radio communication records for at non-towered airports. Maybe you can display it on screen. Skip down to section 10. I'll see what I can do. Bit of stutterage. Let's see. Documents. Save. Window capture. Properties. There you are. Alright, so we're going to do, where am I? There we go. View. Oh my, oh my. Okay, view pilot, you go away. Okay. So, section 10, you say? In the pilot, yep. Section 10. 10. Oh, we're descending too much. The following information says say recommended traffic advisory all traffic within a 10-mile radius of a non-towered airport or a part-time towered airport when the control tower is not operating should continuously monitor and communicate as appropriate on the designated CTAF until leaving the area until clear of the movement area. After first monitoring the frequency for other traffic present passing within 10 miles from the airport, self-announcing of your position and intention should occur between 8 and 10 miles from the airport upon arrival. Departing aircraft should continuously monitor and communicate during taxi and until 10 miles from the airport unless 14 CFR or local procedures require otherwise. So it doesn't say that, it doesn't look as though it's required, but very strongly encouraged so far. Tomcats. 5 miles out. So all radios receive on a common frequency identified for the purpose of airport devices as a let's use correct airport name as identified as aeronautical publications and business. For example, using Midwest National Traffic instead of the town name Mosby Traffic or pilots use the correct airport name as identified as appropriate aeronautical publications when exchanging traffic information to reduce the risk of confusion. Although I would argue with that one, if there's only one airport in a particular area with the name or of a city, I would argue that, you know, it would be more difficult to confuse, but that definitely has merit. Yeah. It's one of those, the FAA isn't saying you have to do it, but they're gonna shake their finger at you if you don't. And say you really should have. To help it off, let's clarify intentional communication. Pilots limit communications on CTAF frequencies, safety essential information regarding arrivals, departures, traffic flow, takeoffs, and landings, weather's news, personal conversations. Yeah, like if I'm asking for winds or getting a pyre up, it would be fine. Unicom stations may, upon request, provide pilots with letter information when direction, recommended runway, or other necessary information. If Unicom frequency is designated as the CTAF, it will be identified in appropriate aeronautical publications. If wind and weather information is not available, it may be obtainable from nearby airports via the Automatic Terminal Information Service or Automated Weather Observation. Unicom operators are not required to communicate with pilots, and if they do, there are no standards for the information conveyed. So I said, yeah. This is usually 2 and 4 whenever processed. The use of inbound for landing should also be avoided. Inbound for landing, runway 22 less is more advisable. Say as a A1 take a box if it's landing straight in. Straight in, runway 22 Midwest. So does not use runway 4, runway 22, or use of. I mean, if you say inbound for landing on runway, that's hard to confuse. Okay, so multi-com frequency is 122.9. I'm getting off course. Oh, you're not wrong, Joel. You're not wrong at all. You're absolutely correct. I mean, especially the more out in the sticks you are, you know, the more likely it is to see that. But we can only control what we do, not what others do. So what runway are we using? So we'll close that. That's a good document. Thanks for sharing that, like, program. I really do appreciate that. I'm really considering getting a copy of Far Aim 2022. They just released that for sale. What runway are we going to go? So when we land in Mount Pleasant, probably go for information, weather. I don't know. So what is there? AWAS 133.025.
5. Visibility, tree. Sky condition, clear. Temperature, 2 dew point, 10 C altimeter 29 rate 5. Kilo Mike Oscar Papa automated weather
That's what we want.
0000 Zulu. Wind, 265 to 7.
265 at 7, so we're landing runway 27.
Sky condition, clear. Temperature, 2 dew
Oopsie.
point, 10 C altimeter 29.
Yeah, winds are 26 something, so we're gonna land on runway 27. Yep. That sounds like you killed your spit all right, Mahoney. No, absolutely, Joel. Let's see, Fabio was doing the wings flights for the Boston ARTC on VATSIM. And it kind of struck me that, you know, there's still a lot of people out there that don't understand or don't necessarily realize that you can do VATSIM in a GA plane, not just a tube liner. And I thought, yeah, I think I need to get back on the network a little bit more often. And, you know, you never know you're gonna run into, and practicing those procedures is just good. Just trust your training, and if unmanned overhead circuit a few times, just fall outside the airspace of it. Yeah, and you know, you're always scanning for traffic. Always. And I've found excuses to not get on VATSIM and be like, oh, I don't know how to this. When my sim was crashing a lot, that was halfway an excuse, but it was more because it's just like, well, you know, I hate getting on network and then crashing. You know, I have my sim crash. Or, you know, even in the process of figuring out what's causing the crashes. But now I can actually get on there. I don't have the excuses anymore. So Mahoney, try reducing your RPMs back to 2,500 RPM, and that should help out. And I'll admit, between Fabio and Ailerons, they've been my biggest inspiration and cheerleaders to get on the network and practice and do the thing. And it's always a slight learning curve when I'm doing with Ailerons, because, you know, over in England they do it a little differently. They're very heavily dependent on VRPs, and you're this at this place and that place at this height all the time, even on a Unicom frequency, because their airspace is just so congested. Over here, it's not so congested. When I got my FAA Part 107 license, they strongly recommended that we monitor the ATC comms and not to broadcast. Now, the reason is strictly for situation. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not bad practice, like the program. VFR myself and buddy flying off on VATSIM when we stayed within the flight. He was in Bristol taking off in a Legacy, and I was in St. Athan taking off in an SR-22TN. We met up and headed to Bristol, did a rejoin, and went into circuit so far. Nice. You know, so it's just, you know, I get nervous about doing VATSIM in, you know, like Europe, just because everything's much more regulated. There's a lot more red tape and everything. They made something simple super complicated. But with the airspace as congested as, especially as in like the UK, they almost need it. Whereas over here, most places are much further spread out. Yeah, and that's why I won't, at least right now, I won't fly on network over in Europe, just because I don't know, I'm not familiar enough, and it's, in my personal opinion, more complicated than it really needs to be. or at least more complicated than I want to deal with. Because here, I mean, you look at a map of northern Michigan where we're going, Mount Pleasant, there's a lot of nothing. I can tell, ailerons, I can definitely tell, because it's just, there's so much congestion there, it's ridiculous. But you get in here and, you know, northern part of lower Michigan, there's not a lot. There's hardly anything. Hey, Scooter, how you doing, dude? Everywhere isn't too bad, provided you stay out of control. Yeah. It's like flying a maze. I'm doing pretty good. Doing a little bit of short stream on VATSIM in some GA. Something I don't do very often, but would like to do more of. And of course, I start doing it as I am probably going to be starting a job next week. So, great timing on my behalf. Okay, so we need, our last VOR is going to be 110.6. So we're going to go ahead and put 110.6 in standby. We'll put it in active on nav 2. Got it. According to that, I need 0901 for nav 2. Ooh. Zero, 9, or 1. Let's jump in. It's intimidating at first, but rewarding once you start practicing it. Howie Itzer, hello. I just started simming and have the Thrustmaster T-16 flight back, but I did find while on the ground the ball is off-centered. It might be a calibration issue. I would double check it in the Windows settings on your game controller settings. Do a search for that and go through that process. If it doesn't end up centered, you may want to contact Thrustmaster and say, I've got defective product. I'll talk for you. VFR flighting can easily get complicated if your bus is on. There's a lot of danger areas here that make it, yeah. Roger that, Joel. Glad to have you along as always. Always a good time. So on approach was stopped. There goes a Tomcat. Alright, so we should be closing in on this one. We are quite rapidly. Bottoms in the Tomcat now too. There's a known issue on Swiss sensors, but yeah. Yep. That's what I would do. So we're about to hit our, we're going to hit the zone of confusion. We should be able to see the VOR below us-ish. There it is. I would bet money that that's it. Not a lot of money, but a little bit. Alright, so back to nav 1, 110.6. We've got that dialed in. We need to tune that to 09 or 1. 09 or 1. Pigs in space. Anybody remember Pigs in Space? Or am I old? Get that tuned in. We know that we need to head east, regardless. There's Mahoney leveling off. Definitely need to gain some altitude to get back on proper separation. Vertical separation, anyway. We're not picking up the VOR. Why are we not picking up the VOR? We're only 43 miles out. Tomcats. Make sure that our... Oh, that's the wrong window for that. There we go. So we actually have traffic on VATSIM off to our roughly 230. They're, according to a little nav map, they're about 2,500 feet, so they're below us by just about 1,000. They're just on the south end of that lake. Right over there. Alright, so we're going to 305 Pepper. Why does that sound familiar? It kind of sounds like Draco. Oh, it's picking up the VOR. Nice. You still not getting that today? No, yep. I just started picking it up. Just for kicks and giggles. Not hearing it though. But it's all good, we've picked it up, so we're heading towards Mount Pleasant. You have a good one, Captain Mahoney. You rest well. We'll see you next time. Tomcats. Well, you rest well as well, Seal? Titanium, Mr. Titanium. That's your new name, Mr. Titanium. Let's see who's on, because I'm going to have to start thinking about that here in a moment. Let's see. So we're about 33 nautical miles out. There can only be Mr. Well, there can be only one Mr. I don't think about that. Good point. Okay, so now we're going a little fast, so not in any kind of hurry. That's the difference with VATSIM. Staying ahead of the flight is very, yeah. It's all, I've got to get the practice down. I have a duality problem. It's like I now have the sim stability to actually want to be like, okay, I can do these longer flights. I can do things like get on VATSIM and explore and learn and practice. And then I have, on the other hand, it's just like, I'm probably going to be starting a job next week. All my free time is going to go poof. It's a very depressing duality. It's like, dadgummit, just when things start, you got it. Just when I start having the stability that I can do it, and the gumption to do it, I'm not gonna have the time to do it. Dadgum gnats. "30 miles out to our final destination." I appreciate that, Stuart. You've been a huge inspiration and help for that. I'm at the point of frustration of, gosh, dang it. It's like I can't win. So far, if I have one gripe with the Grob and flying on network, tuning the CDI and either of the CDIs is a pain in the neck. It's not helpful. You don't get the degree you're tuned to in the tooltip. It takes forever to tune it. It's kind of one of those, I would need a legit gauge to do that better. But that's a lot of money. Like, I know that Logitech makes panels for that, and actually I've thought about getting one, but gosh, those are just really expensive. Okay, so our line's intercepted. We're going to start drifting. Man, we still bloody climbing. Now, luckily, we're in the middle of nowhere, so traffic's light, but you know, vertical separation's still important to have. The salmon streams have pretty much ceased. It's now juggling with work, wife, kids, flying, flight school, etc. Yeah. Well, and honestly, as soon as I get working and get stabilized with that, I really want to restart my flight training, because I haven't had a flight lesson since 2004, roundabout 2003, 2004. It's been a long time. You know, my only saving grace is the fact that I've been around aviation my entire life, and especially now I have flight sim and VATSIM and all kinds of friends, and so I at least have the chance to practice, to flesh out what I, exercise what I have learned and what I remember, and move forward there. So at least I can get back into flight training when I can afford to and hit the ground running, as opposed to just being behind the 8-ball. Lucky for me, I don't have a significant other, I don't have kids. It's just, and honestly, I've been living something of a dream for a better part of a year and a half, and now it's all kind of coming in full circle. As you're transferring around, there's a lot of traffic incoming or coming up on my glass cockpit. Yes, I am reporting altitude. I'm on altitude mode. Squawking 1200 VFR. Now, the document we read earlier said something within 10 miles. I've always learned it to be reasonable practice to at least say something when you're like 15, 20 miles out, just so people have kind of a heads up of, hey, I'm here, I'm going to this location. I'll be there in a while. I almost find that there's a level of over communication that's not a bad thing. I'd rather people be expecting me and know to look for me when I get close to a particular airport than risk people not realizing I'm there. Know what I mean? Know what I mean, Vern? So we're 19 out. So the actual name of this airport is Mount Pleasant Municipal. So we'll just say Mount Pleasant. And Mount Pleasant traffic, Grub 6947 Echo, inbound from the west for full stop landing on runway 27 at Mount Pleasant. Toronto Center, Kansas City Center, can't hear either of them. Got USA PR1 over yonder. What's really nice is if you have TCAS enabled on any of the avionics, which with the working title stuff, it has it available. Anybody on either VATSIM or JoinFS will show up on TCAS. For some reason, regular Microsoft servers traffic won't. I always thought that was kind of weird. You'd think that it, be the other way around. We're gonna have a nice sunset landing. How about that? 3,000. Yeah. Like, I would probably get more detailed once I hit 10, being like, I'm at 3,400, approximately 10 miles to the west. This particular flight, 0. This aircraft has no autopilot. It's all been me, which is kind of why you see it going this way and then that way, and I'm doing stuff. There's the city of Mount Pleasant. I believe the airfield's over yonder. Yeah, we have to add a QNH setting, so level 3,000. Oh yeah, no, we don't have to worry about any of that. Or at least not as far as calling out. Nope. Not that I've ever heard anyway. So, speaking of that, though...
Delta automated weather observation 0000 Zulu. Wind 260 at 4. Visibility 3. Sky condition clear. Temperature 28
This isn't us, this is 48 Delta. For sure, Stuart, for sure.
Delta Whiskey automated weather observation 0000 Zulu. Wind 227 at 10.
Still not our airfield.
Sky condition clear. Temperature 260 dew point 10 KHAI-KHLM-KMOP 2992. Kilo Mike Oscar Papa automated weather observation 0000 Zulu.
2.
13 Charlie automated weather observation 0000 Zulu. Wind 227 at 10. Visibility 10.
It's
Sky
240
clear.
or 2400.
26C dew point.
Oh, it's actually 00
10
Zulu.
altimeter 2992. Kilo Alpha Mike November automated weather observation 0000 Zulu. Wind 227 at 10. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 26C dew point. 10C altimeter 2992.
So we're 8 miles out. We're going to go ahead and
Automated weather observation 0000 Zulu. Wind
turn that off.
227 Visibility
We'll just do that. So, Mount Pleasant traffic. Grub, November 6947 Echo, approximately 7.5 miles to the west at 3,500 feet inbound to land. Runway 27, full stop landing at Mount Pleasant. We're going to have a nice evening landing, fellas. Folks. Peeps. Dudes. We're all dudes. He's a dude, she's a dude, we're all dudes. Alright, we're going to turn a little direct east. Start reducing power for descent. And Mount Pleasant traffic, Grob 6947 Echo, entering left downwind for runway 27, full stop landing at Mount Pleasant. That just makes it fun. Crosswinds are good for practice. Disguised as a dude playing another dude. Okay, so we're good enough for downwind. We may extend the downwind a little bit just because we still have a little extra altitude to lose. Now we're trying to keep an eye on our instruments, but also keep our eye on where we are in relation to the airfield. I'm a base. Roger. Mount Pleasant traffic. Grob 6947 Echo, midfield downwind for runway 27, full stop landing at Mount Pleasant. Okay, so we're going to put down our approach flaps. So our altitude is now good. Use a little bit of trim. Mount Pleasant traffic, Grub 6947 Echo, turning left base for runway 27, full stop landing at Mount Pleasant. I get a chance for Roger that, my dude. I'll try to do that. No, bad time to do that, but I want to do it before I lose it. Okay, so we have the site. I feel like I messed up that call, but I don't remember what I said. Need to add power in. Lower the nose a bit for speed. Pitch for speed, throttle to altitude. And Mount Pleasant traffic, Grub 6947 Echo, turning left onto final full stop, landing runway 27 at Mount Pleasant. And maybe we turned a little early. That's okay. Yeah, we need to reduce power. Okay, mixture's rich. Props full forward as we're on final. Last notch of flaps. We're high on the glide slope. So we want to keep power down. Gosh, this view really messes me up on what's straight and what isn't. It really makes me feel like I'm off-centered. Like I'm looking off-centered. That's really throwing me off. Okay, add power, we're on glide slope. And you want to slip. Keep the nose forward on center line. That's a Cessna stall horn. That kind of explains why everything sounds like a Cessna. What in the world's going on with this thing? What's going on? Something's very, very wrong. They're up to summit. That was very Cessna. So we're off. And Mount Pleasant traffic. Rob 6947 Echoes clear of all runways at Mount Pleasant. No! The engine sounded like the beginning from a Cessna, but I was just like, okay, maybe I...
Toronto, good evening, American 7283, level 37.
But that's definitely what that stall horn, their sounds are a little borked. So we're gonna need to turn our strobes to the red strobe, which is just rotating beacon. Brakes are really freaking touchy. I'm barely holding on to them. Alright, parking brake set. We're going to go ahead and disconnect from VATSIM. Going to increase throttle a little bit so we can clear spark plugs. Just start shutting everything down. Avionics off. Go for a little while, pull mixture, and there we go. Alright, we're going to turn lights off. lights. There's about 30 bloody things for lights. And like that, we're good to go. Well, that's a neat shot, but odd. We got ourselves an F-14 down. Well, that was fun and exciting. I want to thank you all for coming along with me for the ride. We're gonna do a little bit of a raidy raid. To everybody that has come along, many thanks. I do greatly appreciate it. It's been fun doing a little bit of VATSIM on stream. So I look forward to doing it a little bit more here in the future. And then everybody having the same connection. Oh, that's not good. It's okay. So we're gonna do a little raid while we sign off. So make sure I get it right. Y'all have a good night. And everybody that came along and the new follows, and many thanks to Murph for the raid, for all the gift subs, for keeping me company during the flight. I do appreciate it. But until next time, be good to each other, stay safe out there, and we'll see you.